A plumber kneels over an open manhole on a freezing London night. The smell hit him before anything else did. He reaches into the dark with a gloved hand, feels something soft, something wrong, and pulls it into the light. It isn't rags. It isn't food waste. It's tissue. Human tissue. By sunrise, police will be standing in an attic flat 2 floors up, arresting a quiet, mild-mannered office worker who will calmly admit, without being asked twice, to killing at least 12 men. And the whole thing unravels because of a clogged pipe he thought would just wash everything away. 7 men. 7 mistakes so small they almost got away with everything. This is how each one of them fell. Seoul, 2004. For 10 months, women connected to massage parlors across the city have been vanishing. The man responsible has a system. He calls ahead, asks for a specific employee by name, waits for her outside. When the same voice calls again asking for another employee, the owner doesn't send her. He calls the police instead, and sets a trap. The man who walks into it that night is Yoo Young-chul, later convicted of 20 murders, some involving mutilation so extreme investigators wouldn't release the full details for years. He was undone by a habit he never thought to break. That plumber from the beginning? His name was Michael Catran, called out to a quiet building in North London called Cranley Gardens because tenants kept complaining about the smell. He assumed a blocked drain. He found the remains of at least 3 men. Upstairs, in the attic flat, lived Dennis Nilsen, a soft-spoken former police cadet and civil servant. For 5 years, he'd lured lonely, mostly homeless men back to his apartment, killed them, and kept some of their bodies in his home for weeks, even months, before dismembering them and trying to flush the remains away. It worked, over and over, until the pipes at his final address simply couldn't take any more. When police asked how many people they were talking about, Nilsen didn't hesitate. 15 or 16, he said. I've lost count. New York City, the summer of 1977. A gunman has been shooting couples in parked cars for a year, signing his letters to police, Son of Sam. 6 people are dead. The city is close to panic. On the night of his final attack, 2 patrol officers, with no idea a murder is about to happen nearby, write a routine ticket for a car illegally parked near a fire hydrant a few blocks away. Weeks later, detectives cross-reference every ticket issued near the crime scene that night against their suspect list. One name matches a man already flagged in an earlier, unrelated complaint, David Berkowitz. They search his car and find a rifle, the murder weapon, sitting in plain view on the back seat. A $5 parking fine ended a manhunt that had consumed the entire NYPD. Sheffield, England, January 1981. 2 officers on a routine patrol through a red light district notice a parked car with a man and a woman inside. Nothing about it looks unusual. They run the plates anyway. The numbers don't match the vehicle. A minor offense, false plates, most likely to dodge a drunk driving charge. They arrest the driver on the spot and take him in for questioning. The numbers don't match the vehicle. A minor offense, false plates, most likely to dodge a drunk driving charge. They arrest the driver on the spot and take him in for questioning. Overnight, something bothers one of the arresting officers enough to drive back to where the car had been stopped. Behind a nearby wall, he finds a hammer and a knife the driver had quietly ditched before being taken to the station. The man in custody is Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper, responsible for 13 murders over 5 years, interviewed by police 9 separate times before this night and let go every time. A fake license plate did what 9 interrogations couldn't. Pensacola, Florida, February 1978. A patrol officer runs the plate on a Volkswagen Beetle driving erratically through a quiet neighborhood at 1 a.m. It comes back stolen. He pulls the car over expecting a routine theft case. The driver gives a fake name and tries to run. After a brief struggle, the officer gets him in cuffs. He pulls the car over expecting a routine theft case. The driver gives a fake name and tries to run. After a brief struggle, the officer gets him in cuffs. It takes hours of processing before anyone realizes exactly who they're holding: Ted Bundy, who had escaped custody in Colorado weeks earlier and was already wanted in connection with more than 30 murders across multiple states. One of the most studied killers in American history was finally stopped over a stolen car. Not a single one of his actual crimes. Texas, 2012. A woman named Samantha Koenig vanishes from her job at a coffee stand. Days later, someone starts making small withdrawals from her bank account at ATMs hundreds of miles apart, always careful to keep his face turned from the camera. Almost always. Almost always. At one machine, for just a fraction of a second, his face turns enough to catch the frame. Investigators match it, along with the car in the background, to Israel Keys, a contractor who had spent over a decade committing murders across the country using a method almost no one else in criminal history had used: burying kill kits in remote locations years in advance, killing whenever the mood struck, never in his own city. He'd planned everything except the 2 seconds he forgot to look away. Wichita, Kansas. For 17 years he called himself BTK, bind, torture, kill, and taunted police with letters between murders. 10 victims. Then, silence for over a decade. Everyone assumed he was dead or locked up for something else. In 2004, his ego couldn't take being forgotten anymore. He resurfaces. And in 2005, he sends a local news station a purple floppy disk, but not before writing to police first, asking if something sent on a disk like that could ever be traced back to him. They lie to him. A newspaper ad tells him it's safe. He believes it. On the disk, forensic analysts recover a deleted Word document, an agenda for a church council meeting, and buried in its metadata, 2 words: the file was last saved by someone named Dennis, registered to Christ Lutheran Church. A quick search finds the church's council president. 10 days after that disk arrives, Dennis Rader, husband, father, Boy Scout leader, is in handcuffs. 31 years of hiding, undone by a computer setting he never knew existed. 7 men. 7 mistakes so small they almost got away with everything. This is how each one of them fell. If cases like these, where arrogance finishes what evidence couldn't, are why you're here, subscribe. There's a case coming up where a serial killer's own confession letter contained the exact clue that ended him.